What border crisis?
Stop saying dumbass things! You're not even making sense!
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Hi, fellow patriots. This is Peter Boykin from #GoRight. Share this right now. Time to go right. What border crisis? After 2 years and more than 5.5 million immigrants illegally crossed over into the United States, Joe Biden finally got around to visiting the southern border at El Paso, Texas. But not before the streets, which were taken over by illegals, were cleared for the news cameras. El Paso residents have been overwhelmed in recent weeks by the rapid acceleration of illegal immigrants, or migrants, drawn to the border by the prospects of Title 42 being lifted. As a result, hundreds, if not thousands, have taken over, creating makeshift homeless encampments in the city center. Big dog and pony show, folks. But you wouldn't know it by looking at the news coverage of Biden's visit. That's because ahead of Biden's visit, law enforcement began picking up the illegals and shipping them to other cities. A volunteer from Sacred Heart Church in El Paso told the Daily Mail, quote, "It's a dog and pony show. We've cleaned it all up for him." The National Border Patrol Council tweeted a rebuke to Biden's show visit, saying, quote, "El Paso being cleaned up as if nothing unusual ever happened there, just in time for Biden's visit to the border. We suggest just landing in Des Moines, Iowa, and telling him it's El Paso. He'll never know the difference." Now, the Texas standoff. Joe Biden briefly met with Texas Governor Greg Abbott as he landed in the Lone Star State. Abbott gave Biden a letter that explicitly blamed the president for the border crisis. Hand-delivered a letter to President Biden today during the first visit to the border. His trip is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. I'm calling on Biden to do his constitutional duty to protect our nation. That's according to Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. It read in part, quote, "Your visit to our southern border with Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texas property owners whose lives have been destroyed by your border policies. Quote, your open border policies have emboldened the cartels who grow wealthy by trafficking deadly fentanyl and even human beings. Texans are paying an especially high price for your failure, sometimes with their very lives." Now, Biden tries to ignore the Biden crisis for the last 2 years, and he's only reaching out now. It's become a political liability for him. Even among his own party, as New York Mayor Eric Adams, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot have all publicly acknowledged their cities are under siege. That's my term, not theirs. By illegal immigration. Now, what's next? Biden went to Mexico for a bilateral meeting with Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, followed by a trilateral meeting that includes the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The source of this is Axios, Daily Mail, and Governor Abbott's letter on Twitter. You can look up these information and the sources on the article on GoRightNews.com.
Final topic here. Since we're here in Texas, I want to ask you about the border. Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the president and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years. We also have to put in place a law and a plan for a pathway for citizenship for the millions of people who are here and are prepared to do what is legally required to gain citizenship. We don't have that in place because people are playing politics in a state like this and in Congress. By the way, you want to talk about bipartisanship on an issue that at one time was a bipartisan issue, both in terms of Republican senators and even presidents.
Right now, one of our inflationary problems is we don't have enough labor, particularly in the service economy.
You're right.
Joe Biden does performance art at the border.
We'll be right back with this story from Go Right News. You can follow us on GoRightNews.com for more information.
Hi, fellow patriots. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag GoRight. Share this right now. Time to go right. Joe Biden does performance art at the border. After 2 years in office and over 5 million illegal border crossings, Joe Biden has finally acknowledged the border crisis, unveiling a small package of mostly performative initiatives intended to slow illegal immigration ahead of his first ever trip to the southern border. The first trip in 2 years, people. Since Joe Biden took office in 2021, or stole office, whatever way you want to say it, more than 5.5 million immigrants have illegally crossed the southern border into the United States. In 2022, Border Patrol caught 98 known or suspected terrorists trying to cross the border. It's the reason why we need a big and beautiful wall, people, to keep them out. In 2022, the DEA seized over 379 million deadly doses of fentanyl, most of which was trafficked across the border, enough to kill every single person in the United States. Joe's grand plan is to create more legal pathways for immigrants attempting to enter the U.S. while tightening immigration enforcement at the border. Yeah. Biden told asylum seekers from Haiti, Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua, do not just show up at our border. Instead, the U.S. will accept 30,000 immigrants from these countries per month if they have a U.S. sponsor. That's still way too much. At the same time, any immigrants from these 4 countries caught at the border will be expelled and become ineligible for asylum until they get new documents, change their name, and show back up. It's all about the optics, folks. Biden doesn't want the images of chaos on the southern border, so he's bribing immigrants with a clear path to asylum as long as they don't show up at the border. And he's hoping that they'll get future votes. Now, what else is Joe planning? According to the fact sheet put up by the White House, more asylum officers and immigration judges will be sent to the border to drive down the wait times for those, outside of the 4 countries mentioned above, seeking a legal pathway into the U.S. Means more and more Mexicans. There will be adding funding for border cities, non-border cities affected by immigrant arrivals, and non-government organizations involved in immigrant resettlement. And also a push for amnesty. In his speech, Biden blamed Republicans, of all people, blaming Republicans, the one to put up the wall, wanted to put up the wall, for the crisis at the border. It's laughable. Let me give you one of those Tucker Carlson's saying because they refuse to consider the, quote, comprehensive immigration reform package he proposed in 2021. Now, Biden's immigration reform package includes a pathway to citizenship for all of the 11 million, the real number is probably closer to 20 million people currently living in the U.S. illegally. Now, Joe Biden, the Democrats, and a group of establishment Republicans, boo, want to sign a massive amnesty bill this year in 2023. So yes, Biden is acknowledging the border crisis, but only so he can push his fix. Ask his son. He knows all about fixes. Biden visited the southern border in El Paso, Texas, before heading to Mexico for a meeting of the 3 North American presidents. And we're not talking about U.S. presidents. We're talking about the Mexican president, the Canadian president, and the barely president, Joe Biden. The source of this is FAIR, the DEA, and the White House. And you can check out these sources listed on the article at Go Right News.
It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to hashtag Go Right for America. Join us at GoRight.us and GoRightNews.com. It is time for the Great American Revival, and it is time to hashtag Go Right for America.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to this, and please share it everywhere. Again, this has been hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, a part of GoRightNews.com.